and it was just working. But I mean, we'd sit around the room, and sometimes it got to the point where Hulk had creative control in his contract, and it got to the point where we'd be doing something, and then people would just look at me like,
well, because you're the guy that's been.
Well, I mean, and I'm going, it's not up to me, but if it was,
right,
I would do this, you know. But I just want to know what we're doing because I need to know before we go out there.
Right.
And so it got really good. Once we kind of won Hulk over and got his trust, and he realized we weren't, because he's from that whole era, they're out to get me, brother.
Right.
You know, he was like, you know, that Randy Savage era where, like, you know, I remember saying to Randy, like, hey, nice boots. What do you mean by that?
Yeah.
I mean, your boots are nice. Like, I mean, everybody, you know, that was that era when everybody was trying to get everybody, and I'm not about that.
Right.
I mean, I've always looked at wrestling as like a team game, although it's highly individual. If my role on the team is to block while Hulk scores a touchdown, cool.
Right.
As long as I get that Super Bowl ring.
Right.
Like, we all get a ring, right? You know?
Right.
Like, I don't have to have the most. I just want some, you know? I never cared about money, so I was comfortable with what I was getting. I mean, but I always looked at it the same way, like a business. Well, if the leading running back in the NFL gets this,
right,
and I'm the third leading guy, well, I want to be paid commensurate to my ability.
Right.
You know, that's where all the cool thing about having agents and stuff is they take all the heat for that. And Eric could only talk to me about creative things. He would argue with this guy about money,
right,
and I'd be aware of it, but never involved
right.
in it. So it kept me babyface.
But you know, a lot of guys back in the day, I mean, you know, Hogan was the first guy to really use lawyers. And so a lot of times when the lesser guys or the mid-card guys would come in with a lawyer, you had heat because you brought a lawyer in.
Right.
It's like, man, it's like, it ain't fair. Well, you know, they got a team of lawyers.
Yeah.
But if you brought one in, you're just kind of like,
right.
oh, okay, you're going to play that game. Well, you're supposed to basically sign the dotted line. Hogan kind of changed that, and I thought he was kind of the forefront of the whole business for that.
Right.
And then also, then when he came in with what you got, favored nations,
right.
he ended up pulling that trump card because he had creative control.
Right.
So he had that one thing above you.
Well, I mean, it was crazy. But Hulk was, I remember getting to know Hulk, and he was like, you know, I was a mark for him. You know, I never did business with him. I never really been around him. You know, I was a mark for him, what he'd done. But then at the same time, I was super competitive too. Like,
right.
Wait a minute, he makes how much?
Yeah.
You know what?
So you guys went down there for big money.